With so many ghost sightings, this could very well be one of the most haunted houses in England. With all this in mind, I just had to bring you to investigate the Manor House in Petty France, Gloucestershire. Lying at the foot of the Cotswold Hills, our South Gloucestershire location has recently returned to its roots. The Manor House as we see it today was constructed late in the 18th century and has been home to many notable names. The man who was to become Britain's 19th Prime Minister inherited the house in 1808, and other prominent political and literary figures have since held an association with this property. Converted into a country club in 1953, it acted as a hotel from the late 60s until its current owners moved in 3 years ago, and it was they who refurbished the house and turned it back into a private country manor.
It's a house that's been here since the 1800s, so that's not that long ago, to be quite honest with you. But it has the most incredible history. It has so many famous people that have had associations with the building or have actually lived here. It was built by the father of Robert Banks Jenkinson, who of course was Lord Liverpool, the famous or infamous Prime Minister. We know for a fact that the Duke of Wellington actually visited this house. Jane Austen stayed here.
But it was a heavy and troublesome business, and she could not easily forget its having stopped 2 hours at Petty France. Half the time would have been enough of a 2 hours wait at Petty France, in which there was nothing to be done.
Even William Wordsworth owned this house, and he's got ghosts, of course.
The ghost of a gentleman has been seen walking from the dining room through to the sitting room, and cats would often wail for no apparent reason. But perhaps the strangest activity is when this building used to be a hotel. The staff often complained that a table set for one would be occupied by a gentleman who would get up and leave without any warning, and then there would be no evidence of his visit.
Because Lord Liverpool was the most famous person that lived in this house, I wonder if he's got some unfinished business. He loved the house very much, spent a lot of time here. Perhaps that's why he still lingers around the place.
Here in the attic, it's said that the entity of an old lady has been seen sitting on the bed. Many people have been touched by unseen hands, and the temperature suddenly drops when there are no drafts.
The family that were living with us last year for several months, when it came to the children, the daughter Amy, who was 12 at the time, her mum said to her, "Will you be sad to leave Petty France?" And Amy said, "I will be sad," she said, "but I'll be really relieved to get away from all those people in my room."
In the Crystal Room, it's thought that a young woman called Amelia died during childbirth. Is it her ghost that causes the oppressive atmosphere in this room? Also, the image of a large man has been seen walking slowly across this floor, along with heavy dragging sounds.
He moves as if he owns the place. I mean, he walks through the rooms as if he doesn't know he's not supposed to be there. There's, you know, it's not fast, it's not slow, it's just as if he's still alive.
Whether that's a separate ghost, or whether it's other ghosts that are here, that for whatever reason are trying to get our attention, all I hope is that they try and get our attention tonight.
Perhaps then an early sign that the Manor House may not offer the home comforts that the most haunted crew initially thought, as parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe explains.
Compared to previous locations, there won't be so much anxiety or fear, because even though it is quite opulent, it's quite a grand place, it's very, very comfortable. It certainly has a very, very lived-in feel. Now, this is an unusual place because of the number of apparitions that are seen from different time periods and also different forms of apparitions. We've got black figures, we've got apparitions of ladies seen, also children, and setting up a lot of locked-off cameras in those various locations would be ideal. There has been some poltergeist activity reported, so in one of the rooms we'll be setting up trigger objects together with EMF meters, focusing on temperature in that particular room to see if there's any natural cause of the poltergeist activity. In the attic, auditory phenomena has been heard, and so maybe setting up a locked-off camera together with an MP3 player in there will pick up any auditory phenomena, or at least a natural cause of it. There is one aspect, though, that I think is of concern, and that's the dust that's prevalent in some of the rooms. have to be wary of this in case people think that any light anomalies they're seeing are paranormal. Any orbs, any sort of flickers on cameras should be interpreted initially as dust until proven otherwise.
With spiritualist mediums Derek Acora and David Wells arriving in the Gloucestershire countryside separately and neither knowing anything of our base beforehand, we could now begin. This is an apparent hotbed of supernatural activity, and with expectations high, it was time for actions to speak louder than words, as we stepped inside the Manor House at Petit France.
It's a lot colder up here, isn't it?
I feel there's movement up here, movement, spiritual activity, whether it's grounded or whether it's just in visitation. I'm being made aware of a young child, a young girl child.
How old?
I would say she could be anything up to the age of 6, 7. This little girl sobs a lot. She makes, you know, crying out and sobs.
Why is she upset?
She's looking out and she's crying for her mother. She's looking through the window. She always ends up by the window.
What year would you say this would have taken place when she lost her life?
Yes, 1653.
Right.
1653. And she's a beautiful little soul, and she's not reunited with her mother.
Did she live here? Is that why she's here?
I feel she's got very strong links with this property here.
Right.
Very strong.
Do you want to go downstairs?
Can we? Yeah, please.
Despite our initial reservation regarding the manor house's air of malevolence, the description of a traumatised young girl was an early indication that perhaps we had misjudged the real feel of this building. Perhaps this girl's story would unravel further in the Crystal Room.
Whoever sleeps here, they'd be startled. And they'd run out of this place. I'm sure of it.
Right.
But...
So who's doing that then?
The master?
Right.
The master. He's got him what? 1587 and 1588.
What? What was that? When he did something?
What did he do? He raped and murdered the maid, the young maid. He causes what? The fire. Look, we can see that there. All that is in there is a candle. And there's nothing else, is there?
No.
Right. Well, what this soul does, if someone was sleeping here, suddenly they'd wake up and they'd see that fire burning, full flame.
Is this something that would have happened in the recent past as well?
That phenomena, I feel, is still taking place here. And we're not talking about going back 100 years or even 50 years. I feel this is a recent phenomena.
Ask Sam who this master is, because we've got a date, we just need a name.
What's just flashed in front of me there, that William was given, and then... I don't know if it's sounding like Berkeley or Berkeley, but it begins with the B.
OK. But something like Berkeley or Berkeley.
It's something like, yeah.
And he was the master here at that time?
He was the master here.
OK. Right,
And,
so we can check that.
Well, hopefully, yes. I feel that is the most regular thing that happens in this room, is that all of a sudden the ignition of a full fire.
Is it, with the fire starting, is it kind of a, almost, never heard of this before, but an apparition of a fire? Or is it a real fire?
No, I feel that it's being caused to happen when the spiritual activity going on here.
OK, I mean, is that something you've come across before?
It's not. My only concern about that is if there is, you know, an actual fire that starts up for some unexplained reason. Above there, they've boarded up the chimney, so you've got wood on the top of there. So if an actual fire were to start, it would set all that wood alight, you know. It would be something you'd hear a little bit more about in some of the accounts. But it's not the sort of thing you hear about.
OK. All right. Do you want to go to another room?
As with many of the properties that Most Haunted investigate, a strong male energy appears to still be dominant within the walls of the manor house. But what of the girl that we heard of earlier? Derek feels that he has an answer.
this is the area I talked about before with the little girl.
Yeah.
Just looking out of a window.
Oh, this is the window.
Yeah, there's not a window there, is there?
No, but there used to be, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's actually, if I just do this, I feel that she does this, you see.
Right.
And she's looking out the window and she's sobbing.
She's waiting for a mummy.
She's waiting for a mummy.
Right.
And so she manifests. I know her energy's still there. Cute little thing.
A name with her?
Can you give me the name of this little girl, please?
It's all right. It's all right.
What? That sounds like a little girl, didn't it?
Didn't it? Oh, God, you frightened the life out of me.
It's just sitting there.
Oh, my
I was just about
God.
to say, there's a cat behind you.
The cat.
Oh, my heart.
You know what?
Oh, God, I thought it was a child.
So did I.
Oh, yeah, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, my God.
Yeah.
Pussycat.
Go on, Sam, again. He just said a moment ago before this cat's just, you know, come along, bless it, that Sarah was well loved by the poor maid that was slain here. But there's a connection with the maid's mother, who was also in service here. They must have been sisters.
What, you mean the maid's mother was Sarah's mother as well?
Yes.
Oh, I see, right.
So they've been sisters.
Right.
That's why they were so close. So I feel this is also another reason now why this little one is around. She's not just calling out for her mother, she's looking for her sister, the maid.
Right, okay.
So how prevalent is pain and heartbreak within this family home? Is this the last we will hear of such torture and turmoil? Or does another night of fear and dread await the most haunted team at the Manor House in Petit, France?
Oh my God.
Nestled away in South Gloucestershire, the Manor House at Petit, France appears to have hosted one particular crime that opposes the building's rich political and literary past. And with the dining room regularly reporting a male apparition, we simply had to head downstairs to find out more.
There's great sadness in here. Absolute great sadness, great despair. And a female virtually fighting for her life here in this atmosphere.
Are you talking about the maid?
Yes.
Right.
And this master,
William.
yeah, deciding, okay, I can do what I want, beating it into a submission, then raping the poor young soul, and then taking her life.
Why did he do it?
This is a type of soul that he could do whatever he liked in here, but let's go outside, and he was the perfect gentleman. You know, it was like a Jekyll and Hyde.
Dual personality.
Yeah.
When did he die?
Go on, Sam, say it again, please. OK, man's justice caught up with him and hung him in 1589.
OK.
The master had been hung.
Right, I see.
And he is around this house.
Despite such murderous tales, we had to admit that so far the bright exuberance of the Manor House didn't appear to hold too many fears. So perhaps a switch into night vision would help to send a shiver through the crew as David Wells began his reading of the upper floors in the same attic room where an old lady is said to sit on the edge of the bed.
Here we are, David, in the attic. For some strange reason, it's similar to the whole house for me. I don't feel at all scared, at all. I don't know what you're picking up in here.
The only thing I can pick up that may happen here is the noise of it's a woman's voice again, and she's calling out. She's calling after a child. She's chasing children. Children, it's plural. General noise of children, but there's nothing specific. I agree with this.
When you say chasing children, in a horrible way or in a nice way?
In a nice way. It's kind of like, oh, come on,
yeah,
you know, that kind of thing. It's not not nasty in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
So it's like a nanny chasing after the kids, that kind of thing.
Do you want to go downstairs?
Yeah.
Before we go downstairs, Ian, can you touch that window with your left hand, the one that's just next to you? Now put your hand there. Does that feel colder in that corner?
It does, yeah, it does.
It does feel colder. Move your hand back a bit so we can get this back towards away.
So the red is cold, Kieran?
Yes.
That's kind of...
Okay, but then when you move it forward, it's a lot colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that red indicates cold, and one of the accounts from this area is a sudden drop in temperature.
OK, shall we get downstairs?
This passive start did comfort us, with the sensory perceptions that you would expect from a building that has housed families for 2 centuries. But would this harmony still exist out on the corridor?
Before we get any further, I'm really conscious of a female presence at the top of this stair. She's sitting she's sitting right at the top step. A young girl, late teens, possibly very early 20s. And she's crying. I mean, she's not just, sniffling. She's absolutely racked with pain. She's absolutely crying her heart out. It's over the loss of a child, the death of a child, or a child being taken away in some way, shape or form from her.
Can you get a name with this girl?
This might be Emily. Emily.
Okay.
Emily, something like that.
Okay.
But she's specifically saying childbirth now, and she's showing me, it's the blood and gore, which I guess is therefore the loss of the child was in childbirth. So it wasn't born then, died later. So it's actually childbirth.
But it's definitely that you're getting through that the child died.
At the moment, she's talking about is the child. So I mean, whether she died or not, I don't know. But it's just the child and her primary concern is the child. And also, what she's saying to me here is, it's almost like she's looking for the child. One of these longing hauntings where they're longing for something. So sometimes they're longing for the lost love. So they're longing for. She's longing for this child. She seems to have stopped in time, which suggests to me that she probably died as well at the same time. But why there's this separation is interesting. For me, my spiritual angle, I would say that the child never actually took possession, the soul never took possession of the body, therefore the child was never, if you like, complete. Right. That's why she's looking for something that she can't find until she herself crosses.
Her. Oh, that's so sad.
So she'll never find the child here.
Is she grounded here?
Yeah, definitely.
Will we be able to help her?
Hopefully, yes. I will do my best. I'll do everything I can to help her.
That'd be great. Where do you want to go now?
Up here, I think.
Up that way.
Intrigued by David's sensing of a mother and a child, we decide to see what else we would pick up and decide to stay upstairs a little longer, moving into the crystal room, which apparently holds an aura of intense oppression.
So has it come clearer in this room?
Yeah, it does. It does become clear in this room. I've got, I don't think it's this bed, but there's this scenario of this young girl lying in bed in this room, giving birth to be honest, what is not even a fully formed child. It's not a fully formed child at all. The date they're impressing on me, one of the strongest dates they give me is 1912, so there's some significance of 1912. What are you saying to me?
That could be when this actually happened, when she was giving birth.
Yeah. There's an older woman in this room as well, and she's a very stern, authoritative figure, and she's chastising this child who's been caught by a man who's forced himself on her, really. And she didn't know what to do. I actually feel quite emotional about it because this poor child has died as a consequence of one man's lust. And I actually feel very angry about it, to be honest.
Do we know who this man was? Was he connected to the house, or is he just somebody in the nearby area?
He seems connected to the house that she's had a dalliance with, She's a young girl, a pretty young girl. But this womanly figure is probably worrying me more because she's a God-fearing individual, and she's more or less telling this girl, this is what you deserve.
We know that the young girl haunts here, she's grounded here because she's looking for her baby.
Yeah.
What about this older woman?
She definitely walks here. I tell you what she's got for me, she's got this sense of remorse now because when she's passed, she's understood what's happened. She's met the spirit of this young girl who passed before her, and she's ashamed because I think she's, in a sense, protecting this young girl. It's like she's trying to make amends in a way.
But you definitely feel that this is the room where it would have happened?
It feels to me as it would have happened, and the old woman to me is, you know, she's quite strong. She seems to busy herself about here, particularly. She will go downstairs, and I think she does go downstairs, but there's a section just over there where she won't go. She's saying she won't go over there. And she's using these exact words, "That's his territory."
Who's she talking about?
All she said is, "That's his territory."
Do you know where she means?
I know, yeah, she means to the left of here, down, just over there.
Do you want to go there?
I think we better.
Okay, come on then.
This is a room that has undoubtedly witnessed at least one childbirth. But we were more worried by our second direct reference to an unsavoury character, with both of our psychics sensing an evil male who may have violated a former female occupant. Available records may be unable to substantiate which of these portrayals may be correct, but we do appear to be making progress and feeling that more activity exists on the lower levels. We move down into the dining room.
It feels enclosed in here. To me, it feels busy. This is this man again, the one we've just met upstairs, and the older lady. They're here now, both of them, and they're coming towards me.
Are they aware of us all here?
They're very aware that we've met. Yeah, I can see them. I can see. Now she's presenting fine. She's presenting physically fine. He's presenting kind of skeletal and almost kind of half gone, you know.
Oh God.
He's trying to say to me, "I'm buried nearby here. I'm buried close by here."
Right.
There's an elaborate grave nearby, and that's where he's buried. So the gravestone is very elaborate, and it's very easy to find. It's what he's saying.
And it's something. His name is something R.
Yeah, it's like Randolph or Rupert or, you know, there's that kind of name. I just want to get to this woman. She's a little bit tricky. She's a bit fussy about who she likes and who she dislikes. If she takes a dislike to you, she will not have you. And the word she uses is "in my house." She's a door slammer. She's a noisemaker. She's she makes things, you know, the temperature drop.
Right.
She's a real old-fashioned. She's actually using the words "real old-fashioned haunting."
But that could be anywhere in the house.
Yeah, absolutely anywhere in the house, because she would just want them out.
Yeah.
She'd want them out. You know?
Is there anybody that you can ask her now in your mind's eye? Is she happy with us here?
She's fine with us. No, she seems absolutely fine with us.
Yeah, but we want her to slam doors.
Yeah, we do. We do. I mean, I think she might oblige on that front, I have to say. I don't think she'll stay completely silent, because she's a bit of a show-off, and there is a touch of theatre somewhere here as well. A touch of performance about her in particular, and I'm picking up one other. There's a woman with her who's helping her. She's kind of like a maid. She's doing, there's someone who would have done her hair, helped her along. There's this touch of play with them. I've got the name Catherine as well. Okay. Catherine's very strong.
Would that be with the older lady or the lady that's with her?
The lady who's with her.
The lady that's with her.
Once more, we have a homely base that appears rife with unwelcoming spiritual inhabitants. But with a full night's work still ahead of us, would any more torment await us? And through what means would it manifest at the Manor House in Petit France? Most Haunted's latest investigation is centred on an affluent manor house in South Gloucestershire, which has so far offered us an absorbing atmosphere. But we have been forewarned that one or two unsavoury characters may be lying in wait in all parts of this building. With the night vigils now upon us, Carl and Stuart decide to start at the top and head to the isolated attic, where the apparition of an old woman has been seen. Maybe the sounds from an occasional passing car outside would calm their nerves.
If there's any spirit entity here... Is there a table in here? Why don't you and I just do an actual seance? When was the last time you and I did it? I'm not talking table tipping, I'm not talking glass moving, I'm talking... I can't remember. It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Shall we?
to show yourself to us. Use our energy if you will. God, it's getting cold across my wrists for some reason.
I didn't want to say anything then.
My hands are warm, it's just my wrists. If that's you that's making a temperature change, please do something more. Show us an orb or any other light anomaly. Try to show yourself as a mist in the middle of this table. Wow. Right out there, how cold is that?
It's all around the hand. It's all around the hand.
Please show yourself to us. If you can make it this cold, and it is freezing cold, please show yourself to us. Anything. Did you just move?
No, I heard that.
If you just made a banging sound, please make another sound.
That's coming from back over there, that. Tap on there, see what's... Is it solid? Is it steady?
That's the ceiling.
Just carry on and see.
If you're there, please make a sound. If that was you that made those sounds.
It's cold, mate. Honestly, I'm shivering to death of it. That come from above, was it?
I don't know where that came from.
That came from upstairs, that.
There's nothing above us.
It's got to be because something's just gone above us.
This is a really weird place. Sounds like something coming from that room.
It's coming from that bedroom, Cal.
What's going on?
It's coming over quick, come on. I'll leave this camera locked off here, shall I?
Yeah.
If there is a spirit in this bedroom now, if that was you making that sound above us, and if that was you walking in this bedroom, I'm actually sitting in the spot where you've been seen sitting in this bedroom.
I'm just looking in that mirror. Just your reflection in that mirror. The unseen parallel of two worlds.
It doesn't feel nice in here.
It's very oppressive, isn't it?
Having heard apparent footsteps from the roof above them, as well as atmospheric temperature changes and light phenomena, Carl and Stuart decide to let another group independently experience the attic for themselves. However, unaware of events in the earlier vigil, would Rachel, Joe and Ian encounter any similarities as they settle down upstairs?
There is anyone here in this room with us? Could you make a noise? Show yourself. A light, a sound. We're just really interested to know that you're here.
Okay, I actually feel like somebody's touching me on the side of my head, to the right of my head there.
Okay.
It's like... that's what it feels like.
Like running, like light, if you...
Yeah, really lightly.
Do you want to come and sit on the bed with us?
Oh, draft has gone right up my back now.
Is
really,
it?
that's where she sits.
Are you round by Ian? I can feel a draft round here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it's getting. That's the one I can feel at my back.
I know it's cold up here, but it's definitely cooler than it was.
Two separate vigils in the attic had now reported similar activity, most notably that of bodily contact and sudden chills in the air around them, all of which pose the question, had any afterlife still present at Petite France sprung into life? Furthermore, after moving out onto the first floor landing, Rachel then collected these three light anomalies, all in quick succession. Appearing to have touched on some sort of astral energy upstairs, David, Richard, Carl and Stuart decide to see if the ground floor could prove equally active.
Do you know there's something happened earlier upstairs? We went to our first vigils that up in the loft space I quite quickly started to get very claustrophobic. Like And I'm starting to feel like that in here now.
It's sort of the point where you've got to get out, kind of claustrophobic. Yeah.
There's something that...
Is that your foot?
No, not moving at all.
It's like it's coming from underneath us.
It is. It's not from up there.
This is coming from underneath the table.
Yeah.
I know I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
My feet
I'm
are
not.
completely...
No.
I'll feel a vibration from your hand if you move
my
your feet.
feet are crossed on the table.
It's like a heartbeat. Boom, boom.
Could you make that noise again if that's you? Could you knock twice if that's definitely you? Oh my god. Could you knock twice if that's definitely you? Oh my god. Could you knock twice if that's definitely you? Oh my god.
Stu, can you just put your feet forward? There you go. So I'm touching your foot now. You're touching my hand.
My feet are
Yeah, that's my right foot.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my left.
Okay,
there we go.
Can you make a noise again for me? If it's you. Can you make it slightly louder for us?
Oh, good grief.
Can you make a noise again for me? If it's you. Can you make it slightly louder for us?
Oh, good grief.
Can you make it slightly louder for us?
Oh, good grief.
Okay, can you stay silent just for a few just for about half a minute so we know it's not something else in the room? Okay, there was silence there. Could you make a noise now?
Good grief.
Okay, there was silence there. Could you make a noise now?
Good grief.
Could you make a noise now?
Good grief.
Thank you so much. If the answer to the question is affirmative, can you make a noise? Are you female? Did you die here?
There are single ones, there's a double one.
Can you make something else happen in the house? Make something move in the room? Chandelier perhaps sway? Please be present if we come back later.
This is crazy, this.
You might bring more people and perhaps some better equipment to hear you.
I think just before we go, we should take the cameras or one camera, and we should go and just turn the lights or go through every part of the room to prove there's no one else in here.
There's no boiler or anything like that would do it outside or
No.
on the wall or anything like that.
There's no door doesn't rattle.
There's no one here behind
There's
there.
nothing.
Oh, David,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Oh
Look.
my god. Oh my god, look at the chandelier.
Oh! I've had about 3 light anomalies rushing round it.
Seems to me like she's a bit of an attention seeker, isn't she? Well, don't you think?
Just answered you. Actually, study it now and see if...
Yeah, see if it's moved.
The requested movement of the chandelier isn't known phenomena at the Manor House, yet unbelievably, a few minutes later, the chandelier began to move again, this time witnessed by the building's owner, Linda Sanderson.
Look at your chandelier.
Oh my God.
We've just walked away from that and David steadied it.
We studied
Very
it before,
heavy
isn't it?
chandelier. If anybody touched it, you'd know it was very heavy.
Yeah, it's not. It stopped. Blown around.
No, it never
That's
moved.
just stopped.
It never moved.
After a subtle start, was the Manor House stirring into life, and which of its former occupants would bring our investigation to an unlikely close? With both good and evil said to exist here, what would the early hours hold for us?
Amelia, we can send you to meet your baby
All we ask is just to move this chandelier.
Bumps, bangs, chills and light phenomena have all offered the Most Haunted team an insight into the paranormal claims of Gloucestershire's Manor House. But we felt that if credit were to be given to this 18th century house, then we would need to obtain more definite proof as the clock ticked around to daylight. Could we gather anything else from this investigation? Having heard all 4 first-hand accounts of the swinging chandelier incident earlier in the room, and with our host Linda joining us, we hope that a second dining room séance would stir another active response.
If you're there, can you make that banging noise again, please? Make it louder. Can you hear it a bit? Can you make it again for me, please? If you're there, could you please make a noise for me again? Thank you.
Who was that tapping under the... Does someone moving their foot under the table?
That's what it sounds
No,
like.
that's the noise that
That's the
we
noise.
get.
You were joking.
No, that's it.
No.
That's
I
it.
thought that was someone walking.
No. She's out.
Could you make the noise louder for us? There's more of us here. Earlier you moved the chandelier. Could you do that for us again?
Is it coming from the table? Well, it seemed like it came from over there by that candle.
And you're all touching...
Nobody's tapping the feet. But it seems to be coming up somehow.
Is there a tunnel underneath this room? And is there a reason why you're tapping from that particular area?
Did you...
It is coming from right under the table.
Were you sealed in this tunnel?
What was that? Scratching, dragging noise behind you, Stuart.
No, there's another noise there as well.
Yes. Okay. Can you tap when I reach the number of astral beings that are with you? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Can I just confirm there are 6 other astral beings with you?
Yeah, okay. Can you therefore maybe move the chandelier above this table? Maybe join forces with the rest of the astrals to move that chandelier? Yeah, are you capable of that?
Was that you?
Table moved there.
The table moved?
Are you still with us? Okay. Is the old lady who lives here still with us? Are you all happy together? Okay. Are you not happy with the old lady in the house? Is she quite a force? Does she want us to leave?
Yes.
She does want us to leave. Is it just the males she wants to leave? Can you ask her to move the chandelier and we'll go? Can I talk to her? Okay. If there's a presence of an old lady who lives in this house, sorry, a more mature lady who lives in this house, could you make a noise for me? Can you make that noise for me again? Are you there? Both of you there? Is there anyone still there? Emily, is that you? Welcome, Emily. Can I ask you how old you were? Is that all right? Emily, if I start at 20, were you 20? Were you 19? 19.
It's not Emily, it's Amelia.
Oh, Amelia, so I might get the name wrong.
Ask her if it's okay.
Is it Amelia?
Yeah, gosh, that was... Oh, my word.
Amelia, why have you come here? You died in the village.
Amelia, why have you come here if you died in the village? Have you come because someone here is important to you? Yeah. Is it because the father is here?
Yeah.
Is it because you think the child is here?
Is it the father and the child, is it?
Yeah.
Have you seen the father? Have you seen the child? No. Sweetheart, I know the reason why you haven't seen the child. Would you like to know? Okay. Are you still there? It's a bit painful. Try to believe me when I tell you the baby hadn't fully formed, had it? The soul of the child hadn't fully developed, sweetheart, which means there was no child to be born on the earth plane. The child doesn't exist on the earth plane. Do you understand me? She doesn't, I don't think she does understand.
Unbeknown to the group sat around the dining room table, our cameras did appear to pick up one reaction. What could this sound be? We don't know, but we can definitely hear something strange. However, many people do report hearing ghostly cats wailing when they walk into this room.
Would you like me to open a doorway to the light so you can go to the child? Would you like to see your child? Yeah. Okay, I'll do that for you later and we'll open the doorway. You can be reunited with your child. Where's that coming from?
Amelia, we can send you to meet your baby. All we ask is that you just use your energies, our energies, just to move this chandelier. Please try hard for us, please.
Can you feel there's anything in here, David?
Yeah, there's still a couple here.
Yeah.
She's definitely here.
After the initial receptive responses, our attempt to obtain more than noises was to ultimately prove unsuccessful. Well aware that the chandelier's movement earlier had been in front of a small group of males, we tried to replicate such conditions with small groups of both men and then women, but all to no avail. Even so, the maternal misery that had earlier been alluded to did again appear to be at the forefront of any activity witnessed. The only question that does still remain in doubt is, was any of this activity accountable, or had we touched on something far more paranormal?
I came with great expectations because of the number of famous people that had connections with it. We had, I would say, 2 of the best seances that we've ever had in the dining room, with the tapping and the knocking, which definitely emanated from the floor where the table was. It was underneath. And when we asked questions, we got responses like I've never heard before.
Can you knock twice if that's definitely you?
The difficulty with phenomena in a séance room setting is that you cannot discount the possibility of somebody either consciously or unconsciously producing that phenomena. At various points, John, both the cameraman and John, the sound man, attempted to locate the source of the knocking, looking under the table and at various other places. And everybody around the table reported that the knocking sounded as though it was coming from underneath. Attempts to replicate the knocking sound by merely tapping the foot on the floor did produce a sound that was almost identical. When the team was in the attic, using the thermal imager, we were able to pinpoint particular areas of the window that were actually colder than others. And so there may be a problem with sealant on the window or with the way the window is actually fixed into the frame that may actually be responsible for a drop in temperature. So unfortunately, from my point of view, I cannot take it as 100% evidence of the paranormal.
This Gloucestershire home may well have housed many notable names, but who is responsible for the regular replays that are said to dominate the modern-day manor house? Until next time, sleep tight.